On this side of the wall, I boxed in the archway that goes down to the root cellar. I boxed it in with cement blocks and separated with some styrofoam, and then I tarred everything. I also tarred the whole cap of the root cellar, and now I'm laying another protective layer down of water and ice barrier. It's a roofing product, but I'm using it here. And then on top of this, I'll put 2 inches of styrofoam. I use the higher compression strength foam so it won't compress so much. And on the vertical walls I use the less dense stuff. A little difference in price. This stuff's a little bit more expensive than the other stuff. So I'm going to get a little dirt on here now. The wind's blowing pretty good. I'm currently working on getting the inside of the root cellar completed so we can put it into use. We got vegetables we want to get in there. And right now I'm mixing up some whitewash to do the inside of the walls. It's just to lighten it up in there. And what I'm using for a whitewash is just water and white Portland cement. So I just mix as much Portland cement and with the water as it'll hold. All I do is stir it together. I'll still need some more yet. I want to mix it up till it gets like a cream consistency, or maybe like a half and half cream. Now I gotta get some more. I make like a paint out of it, and then I put it on with a brush. This is cement I'm using for the whitewash. It's just white Portland cement, just white powder. It's just like the regular Portland cement, except it's white instead of gray. And it's a little more expensive. And I just mix it with the water until it starts getting thick. This one's getting pretty close. I don't have any measurement formula for this. I just keep adding the white powder. This one's about done. I'll go paint some on. It takes a few coats. Floor turned out pretty good. And the root cellar, I got a door on here too. It's an insulated steel door. And a throw right above my head. And I started with the whitewashing. It echoes down here. This is the first coat. It'll take like 2 or 3 coats. The reason I chose to go with a whitewash instead of paint and primer isn't because it does a nice job of painting. It doesn't do a good job of painting. You know, this is the second coat, and I can still see through it. But it was just to lighten it up. And the reason I chose a whitewash is because this is going to be a high humidity environment. And whitewash doesn't seal the block up like paint and a primer does. If you use regular paint and primer in a high humidity area, you can have problems with it, peeling off and bubbling. But with just this whitewash, the concrete is still able to breathe because it doesn't make a waterproof barrier over the block. And the purpose was just to lighten it up a little bit down here. Some people like a whitewash look where you can kind of see through it. I guess it's kind of a style now that some like, but that wasn't the reason why I'm doing it. I think maybe just the second coat would probably be enough. Traditional whitewash is usually a mixture of some lime and water, some salt in it to help make it stick. But this white Portland, I think, is a lot more durable. You know, and this doesn't rub off. I tried the lime wash a little bit to test it on some boards, and I could wash it off. So I think this will hold up a little bit better. And then on the floor, I just spread out some P-rock gravel that I had from another project, just so the sand don't stick to your feet when you walk in and out of here. The gravel is just a little wet right now, that's why it's so dark, that it'll lighten up as it dries out. I did make provisions for a drain in here. There is a pipe under here, but I don't know if I'll need it. So we'll just see what happens. For the vents on the root cellar, I just took a regular 90 and put a street 90 on it to make a U. And then on the one end, I put some 1/2-inch hardware cloth and some screen over that too, to keep critters and insects from getting inside. I made 2 of them. And I'll just use some hot glue to secure them in there a little bit. I can always remove this if I need to later to clean it or something. Just gotta stuff them in there. Pretty much just a friction fit. Then I just press them on there without gluing them, just to hold them. And I got them sticking up a couple feet. This is about the finished grade. So they're sticking up a couple feet to allow for snow. For the shelving down here, we ended up going with wood. Plan A was to use metal wire shelving, and we started adding it up and it got to be over $300, and that's as much as we paid for the cement block. So we ended up going with wood. It was a lot cheaper. I just got some treated 1x that I ripped down, and I drilled that into the walls. And for the shelves themselves, I made use of the wooden fence slats again. This time I used cedar though, so there's nothing treated. If we put any produce on the shelves, there won't be any treated wood touching them. And it smells pretty good. And they were pretty reasonably priced because I think these were discounted. They weren't high quality ones because I think I bought all that was left. And I ripped them down and I spaced them out so we got good airflow around the shelves, and it turns out pretty darn good. So this will pretty much conclude the build of the root cellar. And now I'll go back to working on the entryway and the greenhouse. Thanks for watching. my wife started stocking carrots in here, packing them in damp sand. We got a lot of carrots this year.